talking about Bravo and NBC lawsuits, let's add another one to the mix. So this is from Deadline, and it's talking about Faith Stowers suing Bravo or NBC Universal, Bravo, and producers for racist harassment and retaliation. Okay, let's get into it. Detailing an environment of racial slurs, sexual harassment, and physical violence, and retaliation, Vanderpump Rules' Faith Stowers wants her day in court against NBC Universal, Bravo, and the reality TV series producers. Seeking unspecified damages, Stowers' legal action is being helmed by attorneys Brian Friedman and Mark Gargaros. The litigating heavyweights have made spotlighting the underbelly of the unscripted world and pummeling the networks and producers behind it a cottage industry of late. Dense, detailed, timely. Stowers is now launching a new podcast series and shedding light on Stowers allegedly being violently assaulted with a knife by castmate Lala Kent. Today's lawsuit is very much more of the same. So I think that these are the same lawyers that was with Bethany for the reality reckoning. They're representing a lot of these people. Revealing that former waitress Stowers was paid a paltry $5,000 for her participation in the fourth season of Vanderpump Rules starting in 2015, and virtually nothing afterwards, the 8-claim filing in LA Superior Court also describes how racial mistreatment and other apparent misconduct became the MO of the show, and how NBCU and producers Evolution allegedly did nothing to stop it. So this is an excerpt from her court document. She says, very quickly, however, Stowers realized that she was getting more than she bargained for. As detailed below, Faith was subjected to racism, sexual harassment, and physical assault in her first season. When she reported her mistreatment to NBC and Evolution, the network and production company, respectively, she was warned to no uncertain terms to keep quiet and play nice. Driven by concern for her career and fear about how she might otherwise be portrayed on air, Faith reluctantly did so, only to discover that she had been nominally demoted to an unpaid volunteer without any actual change in her employment status. Over time, her treatment got even worse. Many cast members embarked on an overtly racist social media harassment campaign, accusing her of having gone AWOL from the military, which is false, of being a thief, which is false, and of being a career criminal wanted by the LAPD, also false. NBC and Evolution, which tightly control the cast public statements and messaging, condoned, ratified, and amplified these vicious lies, causing untold harm to Faith's mental health and reputation. To make matters worse, NBC threatened her with ruinous legal action when she attempted to speak out. In my personal opinion, I believe all of this. I believe all of it. There was also the rumor, let's see what else this thing has to say. There was also the rumor that, or the allegation that Lala had threatened Faith with a knife and that Lisa Vanderpump told Faith to keep quiet. That has been around as well. We all know what happened with her and Stassi and Kristen Doty, which led to Kristen and Stassi being fired. And the reason why I think I'm happy Faith is suing them, because when it came out about what Kristen and Stassi did, how come it took NBC and Bravo and Evolution Media? Why did it take it going public for them to be fired? And how come Lala had no consequence for wielding a knife on Faith? Why was there no consequence for her for that? Why does it take until it goes public and the social climate is different for them to take action? And how come Lala was never reprimanded for wielding a weapon against somebody else, if these allegations are true? But that has been around for a while. Bravo and NBC representatives did not respond to Deadline's request for comment today on the latest unscripted suit from Friedman and Gargaros firms. As expected, Brian Friedman had something to say outside of the filing. He says, NBC and Evolution clearly believe that workplace safety rules, employment laws, and basic decency does not apply to those in reality TV, the lawyer told Deadline this morning. Vicious assaults, racist harassment, and the service of veterans and impugning the service of veterans are apparently acceptable to NBC and Evolution for the sake of ratings. I mean, that's true too. Faith is a vet. She's a veteran. She served our country. And to lie and say that she went AWOL is disgusting. To call the LAPD against her, saying that they think that's why Stassi and Kristen got fired. They called the LAPD saying that Faith was the woman that was drugging elderly people and stealing from them. They know that was not the case. And they're calling the cops on this person. And this was around the Breonna Taylor time. Like it's sick. It's very, very sick. And also, how come Brittany never got in trouble? Brittany called Faith a nappy-headed bitch. Allegedly. A nappy-headed bitch. And also, how come, this is Brittany I'm talking to, Brittany, how come for all of the women, and I mean all of the women, and me, let me just stick with that. All of the women that Jax has cheated on you with, how come the only one you ever had smoke for was Faith? How come you are still BFF with Kristen, who had sex with him multiple times? How come you said you were so close to Stassi and how you miss the friendship with her when that is his actual ex? And then Stassi, why did you think it was right to team up with Kristen Doty, your alleged BFF, who slept with your boyfriend behind your back multiple times? Why did you think it was your job to vindicate Brittany, who is now the new, at that time, girlfriend of your ex? Make that make sense. How in the world is Faith the villain in that scenario? So you're going to still be friends with Jax because Kristen was still friends with Jax. Stassi was still friends with Jax until he didn't go to her wedding in Italy. Then that was the straw for Stassi. You didn't come to my wedding in Italy during the pandemic. That's the straw. That's what it took for you to not be friends with Jax. But the villain in this story is Faith. You decided to call the LAPD on her because she was so awful when Jax hasn't been faithful to anybody ever in his whole life. And you're doing it literally with someone who is supposed to be your best friend, who had sex with him behind your back multiple times, who you physically assaulted on television. Because let's not forget, Stassi backhanded Kristen on TV, on camera, on the show. So Stassi, you physically assaulted Kristen, but now you are back being best friends with her, so close with her that you two are going to get together and call the LAPD on Faith because Faith slept with Jax on Brittany, a girl you don't even really know like that. But then all of you became best friends. You see how weird and messed up that is, but then they don't want to say it had nothing to do with race. Then what did it have to do with? What did it have to do with? I'll wait. Come on. And all these executives all knew that. Come on. Stupid. Anyway, Friedman added, Faith did not know what kind of cesspool she had found herself in and reported this unlawful behavior to her superiors. In response, she was demoted to volunteer and stripped of her already meager compensation. I believe it. Like a number of previous NDA challenging and so-called reality reckoning suits, Friedman and Gargos, I don't know why I can't say his last name, have put in the Los Angeles Superior Court docket in recent months for current and past reality TV stars. Faith's actions takes aim at the restrictions NBCU and other allegedly imposed on her and her freedom of speech. Obviously, now that has changed. Now, this is a lawsuit I could stand by. This is a lawsuit I could definitely stand by. It's time for people like a Faith to step up and by step up, I mean to speak out and get her day in court. And we live in America And in America, the way that we get restitution and justice in civil matters is through money. So I don't consider this a cash grab. I don't consider this, her just wanting to get a payout. That is how in our judicial system we get justice. If it's criminal, we get justice through people going to jail. If it's civil, we get justice through you get paid. That is our judicial system. So the justice that I want for Faith is a big fat check. I want her to be paid because this is actually, in my opinion, a legitimate case. Frivolous cases, in my opinion, anything by Rachel Leviss from Vanderpump Rules, I think everything she puts on the docket should be dismissed and thrown away. Girl, why are you suing them? Because you popped it, locked it open, and busted it open for Thomas Sandoval, and then you got mad because, the world turned on you and because Bravo didn't want to pay you way more money. At least you were being paid. They weren't even paying Faith. Did anybody, and that's another thing, for as much hate that, Rachel got, which was just basically just like yapping at her during the reunion, I'm talking about like from the cast members. Again, Faith got a knife in her face, threatened with physical harm. For what? Like, what did Faith do? You know what I'm saying? It's like this disproportionate reaction to Faith just being a person. That doesn't make any sense. The worst thing that happened to Rachel was them calling her like stupid or dumb or homewrecker or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that those things are great things to be called, but I wonder what Faith did for Lala to wield a knife in her face. So all of it is just bizarre. Faith is one that I stand by. I think she should get a fat payout. Rachel, I think everything should be thrown away. In fact, they should countersue her for wasting everybody, I want the state of California to countersue her for wasting the court's time, energy, and resources. Because that time, energy, and resources could go to real victims out there. It could go to real victims out there. The same way she wasted everybody's time, energy, and money with that stupid restraining order against Sheena that she didn't even show up for in court. It's the entitlement for me. It's the privilege for me. It's ridiculous. Another frivolous lawsuit, Brandi Glanville. I don't know if she did an official lawsuit or if she did one of those like, they're called like a demand letter where you're basically saying, I can sue you and this is what I would sue you for or something like that. So I don't know if she filed anything, but Brandi, sweetheart, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. Check into rehab. And I'm not being mean when I say that. I mean, like, if you've seen Brandi lately, you know what I mean. I mean, for her own well-being. It's like Bravo and reality TV. It's like this drug for certain people, and they just like need that hit. It's not even about the money because quiet as it's kept, it seems like nobody's really getting even paid like that. All of these stars going broke, all this stuff. And so who knows how much they're making or what the deal is, but they're addicted to the fame. They're addicted to being on Bravo. Like, I'm sorry, but like, it's really not that deep, guys. Like, it's really, really not. Look at Dorinda Medley. Dorinda Medley has been so bitter and angry and pissed off that she was put on pause by Bravo. It's like, Dorinda, like, do something else. Jill Zarin, the same way. Nene, the same way. Vicky, the same way. Anna Marie from Beverly Hills. She was on that show for 2/3 of a season, and she is out here looking hella crazy. Like, you would have thought Bravo ate her firstborn child. How crazy she's out here looking because she got fired. Like, I'm confused. Like, what are they feeding these people? on these reality stars where they're willing to go all the way down to the 9th level of hell to be back on these shows. Like, is it that serious and that deep? I'm super confused. Super confused. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy for me. And like, I actually like Lala, but Lala, you, with all your accountability talk, because when it comes to Lala versus Ariana, I'm on team Lala with that, because I do think that Ariana needs to be accountable for the way that she has treated people if she wants them to be so loyal to her. And nobody's jealous of Ariana. It's not jealousy. Like, y'all need to stop with that. It's not. But Lala, I'm going to need you to be accountable for you. You need to come out and talk to, and this is what I would do if I was Lala, and this is what would make me respect her more in this situation, right? Because I'm talking about different situations. I think that if Lala had Faith on her podcast, let Faith say what her experience was, talk about the knife incident, and have Lala take accountability for what she did and apologize to her publicly and to her face for what she did to her. I'll say allegedly, because people out here trying to take down content creators' accounts. So allegedly. But that is what I would do, because you can't have it both ways, Lala. You can't want Ariana to be accountable for all the shady shit she's done in the past, because Ariana has been very shady and dismissive and mean, to be honest. She's not a nice person. She's not. So Lala, you need to hold yourself to that same accountability standard. Why not have Faith on your podcast and say, hey, let's talk about it. What was your experience? This is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Because apparently it happened when Lala in her drinking era, but it doesn't matter. Sober or drunk, you are still accountable for your actions. If you get into a car, blackout drunk, and you run over somebody, you're going to jail. You can't say, oh, sorry, judge, I was drunk. Wasn't my fault. No, you're going to jail, as you should. So drunk or sober, wielding a knife on somebody, you need to take accountability for that. So I would say she doesn't have to be in the room, Natasha. You could do Zoom, you could do virtual. People do that all the time. They do virtual stuff. But I think at this point, I don't see Lala wielding a knife in her face. But I do think that having her on to tell her story would be really, really powerful. Unlike Stassi, who in my opinion has never taken, Stassi rather, has never taken accountability for anything that she's done in life. Stassi still plays the victim. Stassi thinks that her getting canceled is something that happened to her. They wanted my husband to leave me. They wanted me to lose my house. Off with her head. No, it was people just wanted you to take accountability for your racist words and actions. That's not something happening to you. That is something that you did. And because of what you did, these are now the consequences of your own actions. But she still plays the victim. I don't think she has any true remorse about what she did to Faith. I don't think she has, I don't want anybody to sue me. So Stassi, stay over there in your little weird lane that you got going on. Don't sue me. But in my personal opinion, do I think you are kind of racist? Yeah, I do. I do. And that's my opinion. I'm not saying you are one, but based on your actions, based on your response to your actions, I do. You were glorifying Nazi chic. You said on your podcast before, how come Black people are always complaining? You don't see Asians complaining. None of the other races complain. How come the Black people are always complaining? What you did to Faith and other things that you have said and done. And then your reaction to it was sort of like, well, I took some, sensitivity courses. So now the world should just, accept me. No, no, because you haven't actually apologized to Faith. And you haven't actually said what I did was wrong. Unlike Kristen Jody, like her or not, in my opinion, I see more remorse, accountability, and understanding when it comes to Kristen and Faith. I do think that Kristen really does feel embarrassed and understands that what she did was wrong. And I think Kristen, again, I don't agree with everything Kristen does, obviously. I'm just talking about in these particular circumstances. I think that Kristen was caught up with wanting to be Stassi's soldier. This to me sounds like a Stassi idea, what they did to Faith. And Kristen's response has been very, very different. And also, Kristen, from my knowledge, I could be wrong because you never know. People come out with receipts all day about stuff. But to my knowledge, I don't think Kristen has had a history or a pattern of racial micro and macro aggressions and racism the way that Stassi has had a pattern of that, if that makes sense. So to me, the difference between Stassi and Kristen is that Stassi has a pattern of this. She has really taken no accountability and has shown no remorse and hasn't apologized to Faith. And or Kristen has apologized and she does genuinely seem to take the accountability of what she did was wrong, if that makes sense. So there's that. But yikes. Of all the suits going on, even, from Nene Leakes suits to the Reality Reckoning suits to all of the suits, to me, I think Faith's lawsuit against them has the most merit and has the most authenticity, because this chick was on the show for 51 episodes, I think. She only ever made $5,000. Now, I will say this. I know hindsight is 20/20. But if you are working a job and they say we are no longer paying you, stop showing up for the job. Okay? I'm going to leave that right there. If I am working a job and they all of a sudden say you're going to be demoted to a volunteer and we're no longer gonna pay you, but here's your call sheet and we need you to film these scenes, stop showing up. Stop. It's 2024. I know that there are still certain types of modern day slavery, but slavery in that way, fortunately, is over. Nobody can force you to be a volunteer. Stop showing up. Ain't no way in hell would you have only paid me $5,000 and I was in 51 episodes and you're going to tell me that I am now demoted and I'm on a volunteer status. I'm still showing up at your call time. Ain't no way in hell. No. 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 So let this be a PSA to all of you guys. Don't think you have to kiss the executives' butts and the producers' butts. And if you just play nice and if you work for free, then somehow magically one day they're going to, treat you right and pay you what you deserve. No, they're going to use you as much as they can use you. And when they're done using you, they're going to spit you out because they don't look at you like a human being. They look at you for what can I get out of you for the least amount of money that I can. How can I make the most money off of you with investing the least amount of money in you? It's really what it is. Because Faith was one of the only people of color on that show. She was storylines for that show, the whole Faith and Brittany thing, and she was there and all. She was people like, come on. And then what did they do? They turned around and spit her out and didn't pay her. So no. Again, I don't think like Lala, I'll look at you hella crazy. Stassi, I'll look at you hella crazy. Kristen, I think of the three of them, Oh, wait, 4, Brittany. Brittany, Stassi, Lala, all 3 of them. I don't think they have any remorse. I don't think that they have ever taken true accountability for what they did to her at all. And that is very disgusting. Of the 4 with Kristen, I think of the group, I think Kristen has shown the most amount of remorse and understanding of what she did was wrong. But the rest of them, that ain't it. That ain't it, boo-boo. That ain't it. Now, what I will say is I think that Bravo, NBC, unfortunately Peacock, because they're a part of NBC, Shed Media, Evolution, all of them, I think that they do foster these environments of looking at reality TV stars as disposable commodities that they will just use and abuse and spit out, make all the money they can off of them, and exploit them. I do think that I don't know if they foster an environment of racism, but they definitely don't protect or don't call out. It's just, and then also the whole when it comes to the drinking stuff, I think people need to take accountability for themselves for that. Unless somebody is opening your mouth and pouring it down your throat, that's personal accountability. But with the workplace environment, it is the employer's duty to foster safe environments for their employees. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is. Whether these are 1099 people on 1099s, whether they have a W-2 or not, these are whether they're independent contractors, these are their employees. And these are coworkers. So imagine at your job, whatever your job is in a corporate office, and your coworker wields a knife in your face, and your boss says, don't say anything and be quiet. In fact, we now are going to demote you, and we want you to come in and work every day on a volunteer, non-paid basis. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if you worked in a corporate office and that happened? And your boss was like, don't say anything. It's cool. Or if you worked in a corporate office and you went to HR and you said, my 2 coworkers, Joe Schmo in cubicle A, Jane Doe in cubicle B, they were hanging out Friday after happy hour, and they decided to call the police on me and tell them that I'm a thief. And your bosses just said, shush, don't say anything. You're just a volunteer here and we don't pay you anyway. Could you imagine? Because you have to remember, we have to take that emotion. It's in that parasocial relationship. Parasocial is when you get it's like how do we explain parasocial? It's like when people who are fans or people who are just normal people think that they have a relationship or affiliation to like a star or influencer or something, right? You think you really know this person when you don't. So we have to take that parasocial, mentality out of it and really look at it objectively. This is a workplace. And then you have all of these people saying, I've been harassed, I've been threatened, I've been hurt, I've been bullied. Think about all this stuff. Think about everything that happens with all the fights and stuff. Could you imagine in your corporate office, every single day people are fighting each other? Doesn't make any sense. To even take it out of corporate, just any job. It's crazy. So I want justice for Faith. Stassi, you can stay canceled. Kristen, you're getting your karma on the Valley because they're coming after you. My only thing is this. When is it going to really come around for Jackson Brittany? When is it really going to come around for them? because they lied and said they left Vanderpump Rules on their own terms. That's a lie. You see how thirsty they are to be back on the limelight? They are so thirsty. And Jax is so bitter that he isn't on Vanderpump Rules. They got fired for racism, and all of that stuff. They got fired, but they like to lie and say they left. You really think Jax and Brittany left reality TV on their own accord? Come on. Justice for Kate Middleton too. That's a whole other video, but justice for Faith. And I wonder what accountability Jax and Brittany will have, if anything. Probably none, but again, we'll watch this space. But justice for Faith, I hope she gets a fat check. I hope she gets all of the things because she really deserves it. She slept with Jax. Who cares? So has 98% of West Hollywood. And you want to tell me that justifies what they did to her? Disgusting. It just absolutely disgusting. But I want to know what you guys think. So put it down below and be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to... I don't know. What do you guys want to move on to? Lisa Vanderpump, Summer House, Kyle Mo Morgan, or Kyle's rumored lesbian lover? Let's do Kyle. All right. So according to the blogs, Taylor Armstrong is coming out and saying that she did not have an affair with Kyle Richards. She's coming